see the guy like get out and he has like a rifle that he's kind of waving around.
Seconds later, gunshots.
And then probably maybe 10 gunshots happened and everyone's like, oh my God.
And confusion on Florida State University's campus.
I just started running as fast as I could, and then I could just hear like shots echoing as I was running.
People running away from the student union.
We saw cops running, students running. It was just like complete chaos. Everyone was like running all over the place.
Others barricading doors with anything they could find to keep the gunmen out.
People were going everywhere, someone up like a maintenance elevator, someone up some staircases. We just kind of went in a corner and hid behind some trash cans, made a little fort out of plywood.
Until police arrived to take them to safety.
My hands were shaking, just adrenaline kicked in, and I really didn't know what to do. I started tearing up, just like I was scared, to be honest. I was completely in shock. I didn't think this could happen at Florida State.
And tonight a memorial is growing at Florida State University for the 2 people killed and 6 others hurt in today's mass shooting. Thanks for trusting Washington News. I'm Summer Knowles.
And I'm Jesse Pagan. The suspected shooter, 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner, is in custody tonight. The sheriff's office says he is the son of a Leon County sheriff's deputy and used his mom's former service weapon in the shooting. West 2's Haley Crumble-Home live at the University of Central Florida with local reaction to the tragedy, and Gail Pascal Brown uncovering how our local law enforcement agencies prepare for active shooters to keep you safe.
But let's go ahead and head out to West 2 anchor Stuart Moore, who leads our team coverage tonight from that memorial on campus at FSU. Stu.
And Summer and Jesse, that memorial continues to grow at this hour. You can see more students are putting flowers there, where candles are also lit, and people have left different FSU mementos, flowers, teddy bears, different things to make sure that people know they're not in this alone. We did learn more information this hour about the shooter, in this case, the suspected shooter, 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner. Investigators again told us that he is the son of a sheriff's deputy here in Leon County, but also that he was in more like a junior patrol type of situation when he was in high school. Now, he was also a student at Tallahassee State College, according to NBC, before he enrolled here at Florida State. And someone who attended Tallahassee State College with him says that he was also in a group called the Political Roundtable, and he said that he had to be kicked out of the group, saying, quote, basically our only rule was no Nazis. Colloquially speaking, he espoused himself as so much white supremacist rhetoric and far-right rhetoric, as well as to the point where we had to exercise that rule. Then he was removed. Again, we spoke to a student this afternoon who is actually going to intern at West this summer. He was in the student union when those shots were fired.
We first saw people running outside of our bowling alley, and then someone mentioned active shooter, and we all kind of ran towards the back billiards room. Kind of puts like another glass wall between us and the outside. People were just kind of hyperventilating and being like, oh my gosh, like praying, just stressed out, and people were like, oh my gosh, texting parents, calling friends. And once we were outside, the huge amounts, there was someone being treated by EMS, and then just all around there was police, and they guided us and told us to just get off campus.
And Ryan, who you heard from there, went to Haggerty High School. He's interned at West for the last few summers in our meteorology department. He went on to tell us he's just 21 years old. He says his entire life while he's been in school, he's practiced for things like this.
From kindergarten on up that we've been preparing, and unfortunately today we had to use it for real. We've been going through like, oh wow, what stopped me from going to get lunch or going upstairs or just, you know, going to do something outside.
And again, this memorial continues to grow as people have more and more thoughts like that. Ryan tells us his keys are actually still in the student union, so he's not been able to get back to them, as that is still considered an active crime scene. Now, this is not the first shooting on FSU's campus. Back in November 2014, a 31-year-old alumnus shot 2 students and an employee at Strozier Library before police shot and killed him. Investigators say he claimed that he heard voices in his apartment and thought the government was targeting him. One of the victims shot was a student from Apopka. Ronnie Ahmed was shot 3 times and paralyzed from his his waist down. I covered that incident back in 2014 for West 2 as well. Brings back memories from being there. It also brings back the memories of a close call of another story that we covered 12 years ago at the University of Central Florida. Police say James Sivakumaran rang the fire alarm inside the Tower 1 dormitory to possibly lure as many people into the open as possible before he planned, allegedly, to carry out a mass shooting. Before he could shoot, his roommate encountered him and then called 911. He later took his own life before police arrived. Investigators found guns, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and 4 homemade bombs inside of a backpack. Now, what happened in Tallahassee has sent shockwaves throughout the entire state and, of course, throughout campuses around our nation, with people on different campuses undoubtedly connected to here in Tallahassee. West 2's Haley Crumblehome joins us live from UCF tonight, talking to people and their thoughts about what happened here today. Haley.
So, Stuart, even though the shooting obviously didn't happen here, the concern was certainly felt here. I spoke with some UCF students. I spoke with an Orlando woman whose sister is a student at Florida State. A lot of the people I talked to today telling me as soon as they heard about what happened in Tallahassee, the first thing they had to do was contact everyone they know at Florida State. A few hundred miles from Tallahassee at the University of Central Florida, the ripple effect of this deadly shooting was felt.
I think it's definitely like a concern.
I am a tad bit nervous because it's starting to get more and more common in America.
This freshman did what probably a lot of folks on campus did as soon as they heard about the shooting.
The first thing I did was contact my friend because I have a few friends that live there, but thankfully they weren't at the scene when it happened, so they're safe. They're a little bit paranoid, but they're glad that they're safe now, obviously.
And for some in our area, it's not just friends, but family that are at Florida State. For Diana Bueno, it's her sister, Angelie, a graduate of Oviedo High School, who's now a sophomore on the softball team at Florida State.
It's a little scary because she's the baby of the family, you know.
She first found out something was going on when her sister sent her a message with a video.
I saw everyone running around. I was like, wait, what's going on? She's like, there's a shooting. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, are you okay?
She says her sister is safe and unharmed, and her family will be heading to Tallahassee this weekend to see her. And with the semester near ending, students will soon get to head home after what's happened.
So they can just come home to their families, you know, settle down, get away from it all.
And here at UCF, the school did send out a statement calling what happened in Tallahassee devastating. They also let students know they may notice an increased presence of police on campus, and they also are going to be setting aside a space starting tomorrow morning at the Live Oak Event Center where people who are part of this community can reflect and find some support. That's going to be opening up at 10 a.m. Live at the University of Central Florida, Haley Crumblehome, West 2 News.
Haley, thank you. Orange County has a large population of students at Florida State. More than 2,000 students were enrolled in the fall 2023 semester. That is the 6th most throughout the state. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has also been kept up to date about what's happened here in Tallahassee. Earlier today, he addressed reporters when they asked him about any possible gun legislation in wake of this shooting. Here's what he had to say.
As far as legislation is concerned, this has been going on for a long time. I have an obligation to protect the Second Amendment. I ran on the Second Amendment, among many other things, and I will always protect the Second Amendment.
And Governor Ron DeSantis also weighed in this afternoon on social media, offering his condolences to Florida State.
Casey and I stand in solidarity and are praying for the entire Florida State community. We're mourning the 2 individuals who lost their lives in this tragic attack, and we wish well those who are currently recovering in the hospital. This killer must and will be brought to justice to the fullest extent of the law.
And today we were able to witness a massive police response from FSU PD to Tallahassee Police Department to local sheriff's office to state and federal agencies all swarming on campus. And people tell us that that's the only way that you can stop this sort of thing. West 2's Gail Pascal Brown spoke to the emergency management director about what it takes to stop an active shooter. And Gail, the insight that they gave today really was eye-opening as to what you need to do.
Absolutely. You know, you have to stay ready in terrible tragedies like this. Stephen Lerner with Seminole County Emergency Management says ongoing training is essential as he sends his heartfelt sympathies to the entire FSU family.
This really does hit hard, you know, just giving my thoughts and prayers to all the individuals that are affected at FSU.
Stephen Lerner is the division manager for Seminole County Emergency Management.
How do you prepare for something like this?
Everybody from, our phone operators in the 911 center all the way up to our agency leadership has a role to play in these types of incidents. And we have a very robust exercising and training schedule with our law enforcement and fire personnel and those other agencies that may be impacted by these types of mass shootings or acts of violence.
Response at building 9, one suspect is down.
Exercises like this, where a storefront inside the Oviedo Mall in Seminole County became a school with a shooter inside. It's training for first responders on handling the chaos and confusion of an active shooter.
All of the AMR personnel, they are not allowed through the doors.
And then there's this annual mass casualty exercise last week in Central Florida, involving more than 60 hospitals.
This type of incident is no stranger to Central Florida. I worked the Orlando Pulse nightclub shooting. Again, still the community is working to recover from that. It's the recovery that happens ongoing after from, bringing classes back at the school, providing mental health counseling, donations management, all of those things need a coordinated process, and that's what emergency management's role is.
Lerner says stopping these active shooter incidents before they happen is so important, and the community's help is needed.
If somebody sees something, they really need to report it and say something to local law enforcement.
Stephen Lerner says every time there is an active shooter incident, there's typically a questionable individual or social media post that comes out but yet goes unreported. He says let's try to stop it before it turns tragic. Back to you, Stuart.
All right, Gail, thank you. And tomorrow morning, FSU has just announced from 8 until 5, they will have a support center open for any students or any person in the community who needs to talk about what happened here today. And of course, we've also learned that the 2 people who were killed were not students. We do not know who the 5 people were that were also injured, but we have been told that they are in fair condition. Tomorrow night at around 5 o'clock, there will also be a vigil on campus for the entire community to gather. And of course, WESH 2 will have continuing coverage of the deadly mass shooting at Florida State University on air and online at WESH.com. We'll have a crew on campus tomorrow morning with sunrise with the newest information on this tragedy. Reporting live in Leon County, Stuart Moore, WESH 2 News. Jesse and Summer, back to you.